Oh, all right. I think we're live. Oh my gosh, 15 people. Thank you guys so much. Can everybody hear me? Yeah? We good? Perfect. Yeah. Okay, so you guys might immediately notice my pristine quality webcam. Well, before I was using my laptop's cruddy webcam, and that was the cause of the horrible quality in the last stream. It was 720p, but it was probably the most noisy camera I've ever used. So now you get to see my workbench in studio quality on my webcam. So anyway, I guess we can get on here. I know, Screamer. Okay. All right. So I have two models here that are just ready to assemble for my business my upcoming business. You guys can go ahead and vote in the chat which model you guys want to see me build, because I can physically only build one. Because if you look at this, your good old 130 motor, I only have one left. I need to buy some more that aren't crappy RPM. So we got to vote for 8-port. This is an 8-port red model, of course. And then I know this doesn't make any sense. Screamer just pointed that out. There's a 912-port American Signal gray model. So I know it doesn't make sense, but theoretically they did exist. Or they do exist. Yeah. 8. We got 2 8-ports. We got 2 912s. Oh, wow. This thing's going to wiggle a lot. 8. I think we got 3 votes, 8-port. It's a tie. 3 vote. I keep seeing people, I love dual tone. I love dual tone too. And this sounds really cool. But the thing is that single tone is louder than dual tone. In this case, look at the size of these ports versus like these ones. They're a lot smaller, but still the same thing. 912, 912. I know, 912 is cool. I feel like we don't have a definitive answer before I start building. Single tone, 912, 8-port, 8-port, 912. Okay, it's a bunch of mixed votes. I think 912, though. Do a poll. Wish I had enough time to do that. Did I watch SirenCon 2026, Southwest Sirens? Sort of. I didn't watch it live. I didn't really have all the time in the world to watch it. Like, how many hours was it? It was so many hours long. I didn't have enough time to watch that, but I did see parts of it. Did anybody see the 7-9-port Sirens that was there? That was incredible. And those things actually do exist. I was doubted. Anyway, now that we don't. I hope that answers your question anyway. We're getting so many mixed votes. The Sirens was quiet, probably because it didn't have any louvers. Okay. 8.5 hours long. There you go. Milk Models just said it. Brendan Kimmins, can I make a Sentry 10V1T3 signal? Well, I've said this before, people. I'm done with 3-signal Sirens, but yeah. Banshee. Yeah, I do have a 10V2T, though, or a 10V1T, depending on how you print it. Jev, you watched the entire stream. Congratulations. Wow, that's a lot to watch. Okay. Guys, final vote, 912 or 8-port. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, EMC, man. 8-port, 912, that's 50-50. Oh, it's still 50-50. Oh, it's 3-2. I think I'm just going to pick one. Yeah, one of them is gray, which makes it more of an American Signal Banshee, you know, an OM117. Yeah. Wait, you can do a YouTube chat poll? I had no idea. I might do that if I knew what I was doing. Okay. If I make you a mod, I'll do it for you. Well, I'll see what I can do here. And I have my computer right here this time. I didn't have it here last time. Engage. Oh, you can start a pool. I'm doing that right now. Okay. Quick. I'm making the pool real quick. Yeah. Okay, let's see what this does. Here we go. Yeah, this is an NVIDIA sticker, Ethan. Yeah, it's kind of an older laptop, but it does have a nice graphics card. That would be crazy, Jev. Hi, the Model 2T. I watched your stream the other day on your full-size Model 2. Thanks so much for giving me measurements on your Model 2. I am fully revamping my Model 2. The old model's right here, by the way, guys. Check it out. This little guy. I might have ripped out its motor because I needed it to build these Banshees. That's actually where I got this motor from because I'm out. But I don't feel so good because honestly, I had to tear apart this whole thing anyway and rebuild it. So it was a nice experience. It was a nice chance to do that. So yeah, the housing, it looks it looks pretty cool, but I found several inaccuracies upon having upon looking at real measurements of a Model 2, and I'm just gonna have to redo this entire thing. I'm really not fond of the way this fits onto the base either. So you got my 3D printer fixed. Nice, Sirens of York County. All right. Okay, I'm gonna see what the votes are. I don't really know how to cancel the poll, but keep voting if you guys want. We will. I need a clean workspace, so I'm gonna get rid of some of these pieces. 8-port will have to wait. It's all my own time or something. But yeah, I know it doesn't really make sense. A 912 port OM117, but it's what I've got. You know, I think it's cool. It doesn't have to be super real. I mean, they absolutely very well existed. Oh, there, the poll ended. Okay, thank you. Did you ever see the 3D Tinkercad logo? Yeah, you did make my logo, Southwest Sirens. That was really cool. I might print it out or something. All right, let me get some tools. And again, people, my workbench is about to get really messy here, so we're gonna see. You're gonna see a mess here. So just like we did with the STH10. By the way, I still have the STH. I'll get it right here. You guys remember this from last week? Yeah, it's perfect. I mean, it still works. It's great. I mean, if anything, it's like a tiny bit overpitched, but you really just got to find the right USB adapter, and it'll be perfect. But yeah, that's the STH, and it's honestly ready to ship out whenever I start my website, and that could be any minute, so or any day by now. Honestly, just gotta build a few more models. And I don't know if you guys saw the big fiasco I had earlier today, but I had bought these 130 motors, and the manufacturer I got them from outright lied about the product listing. Like, oh my gosh. It said it was going to be blank RPM at blank volts, and it was not. It was about like 10,000 RPM above spec. So I physically could not use them to drive any of my Sirens. Ridiculous. Aviation Sirens in Tennessee. Can you make a mini Sterling 2V8? Maybe. Sterling 2V8s are really cool. I find them unpopular, unfortunately, but here I am about to make a 500 DHTT or something like that. So I might make a 500 DHTT because I've gotten a lot of requests to make that. Yes, I use Wix to make my website. Got my dad to get some more printer filament. Expect a 3T20 to be done sometime next week or the week after. That's awesome, Brendan Kimmins. I hope you got those dampers working. Yes, Ethan, you heard right, a 500. I got a request by somebody to make a 500, and I've gotten many requests before that, and I might make a 500. Not a 500 SHTT or any of those models, not the ones that use the chopper motor to rotator, but the 500 DHTT, the 812 port ones. I might make one of those because it's basically Federal's rendition of the Super Cyrix. Yeah, no guarantees on that. That'll be in the further future, but I'm really considering it. Somebody reached out to me on email and asked me to make them a 500 DHTT. So I think I'll do that for him. But yeah, that'll be in the far future. Okay, now you guys are probably tired of seeing my hands wave around. Let's build this thing. So I'll put this on side. Now, naturally, the first first way to start here is to get the right combination of resistors and whatnot with our motor. And I got to be really careful with this motor. I don't know if you guys remember the last stream, but I broke the motor. Like the cap popped off, which is really funny. So hopefully that won't happen this time. And if it does, the stream's over unless I can fix it. So I'll get my weights here. 2-inch fender washer, by the way. That's what I use here. All right. I have more cables back here. Let's turn on my power supply. All right. Oh, wow. It's a mess of cables back here. And I won't use these huge alligator clips because they're probably going to snip the tabs off my motor. You could have just put the motor cap out. Yeah, I could have. I even have a few replacement ones. I've done that with 280 motors. Wow, really? I popped my caps off. It's mainly not fixable. Yeah, well, there are these little tabs right there, and you can push them back in, but it is a major pain. And you got to make sure the brushes are aligned and stuff. It still exploded. Yeah. Guys, oh, this is a great time to show you my Fiasco. All right, you guys can hear this motor, right? It sounds like this. You can see on the supply here, it says 5 volts. This is what it's like hooking it up to 5-volt USB directly. Whoops, I'm shorting it. Listen to that. All right. Standard 130 motor. It's like 25,000 RPM at 12 volts. The reason why the RPM is much lower is because I'm running at 5 volts as opposed to 12. All right, let me show you these. Same on Amazon, these have the same exact specs as this motor. So it should be more or less identical. But here's what it sounds like. Yeah, that is like 3,000 RPM. No, sorry. That's like 20,000 RPM. It sounds like a dentist drill. That's the worst sounding 130. It's awful. So yeah, this manufacturer lied to me. So hi, Kansas City Sirens. You just missed my 130 motor Fiasco. Anyway, I'm so upset. I'm going to have to return those darn things and actually buy the original ones I bought. See, the whole reason I stopped buying these is because, there was another company selling the exact same things, allegedly, same RPM and whatnot, and it had 20 pieces instead of 10 for a lower price, and I went quantity over quality, and I lost the quality, I guess. So, again, listen to that. That's like 10,000 RPM slower, which is what we need to drive a Siren. So, yeah, that's fun, you know? It's really fun. All right, I have super glue gel here. I might use good old super glue. I got a refill on super glue. I ran out. I used it all. But I do use it to put the weights on my washers. Kansas City Sirens, you've modeled one of these. Tell me, does my 912 A.C.A rotor look accurate? It's a Banshee rotor. I think it is. Maybe not the height. I kind of guessed the height, but the height isn't all that important. Looks good. Thank you. All right. Yeah, based off an 18-inch rotor. So, yeah, it's actually the same size as my SD10's rotor. How many volts would you say, or would you say those 130 motors around? Oh, I don't know. NTGP, a 1,000 RPM 130 is incredibly slow. I'd be very surprised if you actually came across one of those. Depends on what voltage that's at, though. If it's like 1,000 RPM at 1 volt, then that's like a pretty standard speed. But if it's like 1,000 RPM at 12 volts, then that's like really, really slow. Okay. Yes, Sirens of LaPorte County. You know your 2001 130 stator. The motor goes to the holes and they do not line up. I actually fixed that problem. That was a problem I had for a short time. If you remix the latest Tinkercad project, it won't have that problem. Yeah. Yeah, sorry about frequent changes in design, but I'm constantly improving my mini Sirens, and as a result, you might have remixed a file that was like totally non-functional, and then like a week later it gets revamped and then it's like fixed. So that just happens. Most of my Sirens right now are through that prototyping phase. The Banshees are not. They're an exception. I'm still working them out. In fact, me assembling this today is kind of putting it to the test. Yeah. By the way, this thing is 8th scale, so it's like really small, you know, and I like it. It's really desktop sized. I didn't need a 3rd scale one. Mini T130, T128, maybe. I'm kind of done with big Sirens, and I'd have to make that big A.C.A. So maybe, I don't know, maybe in the future. Like if I figured though, if I have an 8th scale Super Cyrix, I might make more 8th scale rotational Sirens in the future. They're pretty cool. Why are you running a 555 at 30 volts? That's too many. That sounds like too many, but maybe it's low RPM or something. Does anyone want me to link the bare frame 2001 DC model? I don't know. Yeah. Holy moly, 120 volts? It's special. Okay. I have never heard of a DC motor that ran off 120. What scale is your Micro 3T22? It is in 6th scale, which is a good way to think about it, half of 3rd scale. Oh, it's growling. That's fine, Valley Pine Sirens. Hello. All right. So, yeah. Well, let me make sure this is spinning the right way, because if you guys hadn't noticed, this is a very directional Siren. So it has to spin the right way to sound good. I was running it earlier. Backwards. And I'm like, this thing is so quiet. And then I flipped the direction of the motor, and it sounded incredible. So still, I think it's about as loud as my SD10, and up close, that's like 120 decibels or something. It's pretty loud. From a distance, it's probably like 90 to 80 decibels. So it's you know, despite being 8th scale, pretty loud. It's just its design, I think. It projects the sound really far. Banshees are very directional. Yeah, they did do a good job designing them. I actually have a Banshee, like, probably less than 15 miles from my house. Maybe less than 10 even. It's not that far. I want to tour it sometime, but I just haven't gone there. I was going to see if the city could give them away because they're inactive. Oh! All right. Good day. Wait, is that spinning the right direction? That is indeed. So actually, these motors do have polarity. There's a little tiny dot on the motor cap, and that marks positive. So conveniently, if I wire it correctly, then it does spin the correct direction, which almost never happens. Thunderbolts use DC motors. I don't think that's true, NGT. Or NGP. NTG, sorry. Not real Thunderbolts, anyway. I think Harold's working on a 4th scale Hurricane. Wow. That would be cool to make a one that isn't like half scale or something huge like that. Universal. Yeah, they did use universal ones, like Model 2s. Model 2s use a universal motor. Okay, forgot what I was going to do. Oh, yeah, I was going to get the old resistor back here. I scaled up the Sentry, and it's so laggy. Yeah. Oh, this is the wrong side. So, yeah, these are the resistors I bought, and they're half watt, so they're pretty beefy. I know, I'm pulling more than a half watt through this probably, but they just get a little warm, which is fine. I'm going to bet 3 resistors is going to be enough to step this down all the way. I don't know. I'll have to keep running experiments. What is up, Storm Chaser? WCE. What's your question? All right. I won't read all your guys' comments, by the way. I'm sorry. I do have the screen right in front of me this time, though, so it's a lot easier to see, but still, I'm going to miss a few. Just saying hi. Hi. Respectable. Okay. 4 pins. I don't really care what the number of pins. This is 3 ohms of resistance. Let's see what that does. It's not very many ohms, but let's say we did a 10 ohm resistor, like, you know, that would be 10 of these chained together. It would be like super, it would burn up the resistor quickly. So just got screws from a mini cyclone. That's awesome. Okay. I wired that backwards. Okay. Oh, wait. No, I didn't. Okay. Guys, this should reach 912 port pitch. Maybe. Here we go. Whoa. Okay, so a few more resistors. I know, I know. A little over pitch. Let me get some more resistors there. All right. That only drew like 400 milliamps at peak. That was like not much. These motors are very energy efficient. Okay. For you know, the STH10 needed like 5 resistors, so it kind of sucked. But I was able to manage to stuff them in the motor cover. Guys, this motor cover is tiny. Okay, and it's hard to show that through the camera, but like, let me just get the STH10 again. All right, the STH10 already had one of my smallest motor covers, being 8th scale, but like this thing is even smaller than it. So it's really interesting. It's kind of interesting because it's at the same scale, but the Banshee is supposed to have a 15 horsepower motor, so I don't know how it's smaller. Maybe it's more efficient or something. But that's just something I noticed. That was kind of interesting about its design. The motor's tiny. Hi, RC Cars and Planes. Good to see a familiar face around here. Lots of familiar faces. What am I talking about? All right, yeah. So, what is that? 5 resistors, so 5 ohms of resistance. Let's see. Hello, Great Lake Siren Productions. All right. Let's try to keep that there, centered. Here we go. Oh. Ooh, wow. Pitch. Wind down. Approved. The wind down is really long. What's up, A.C.A Hurricane Guy? All right, this I originally said that this needed like, I don't know, 3 resistors. I'm at 6. But after that, like perfect pitch. I guess this rotor is really small, so it takes a lot to step it down. 912, the microphone actually dimmed. You mean it fuzzed up? Or it maxed out my microphone. Yeah. Pretty close to it, so. All right, I'll get this out here. We modified my 12 port Model 5, made it a custom siren. I saw that. I saw a post on that. That's really awesome. Really cool. All right, here we go. All right. What do you guys think? No problem, Golden Rocket. That was about full pitch. Here, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna get my trusty USB cable and see if I have enough room back here. Plug it in. Oh, lovely. Okay, there we go. I had a USB adapter back there somewhere. So now I have my USB, and what I'm gonna do here is wire it up like I would normally. I'm gonna have a fun time. Here's what I can do is that I can not stuff all the resistors inside the motor cover in that little tiny spot, but actually just hide them under the hat because nobody's gonna see them. So I think that'll work out, maybe. We'll see. Okay, now I wish I had a third alligator clip, which is weird. Oh, wait. All right, I'll wire this up. Okay, I wanted to run it off an actual USB and make sure the pitch was like going to be fully accurate before I moved on. Here we go. Come on. So hard to make a connection right now. There you go. You can start spinning now. I think I'm shorting out the motor. I don't know how that's possible. Oh, it's got the short. Okay, whatever. Yeah, well, you know, when I was putting together my SD10, which is, I guess, the siren I'll be comparing to the Banshee, because it uses the same size rotor and stuff, and it's 912. When I was putting together the Banshee, though, it was, like, I couldn't stuff all the resistors inside of the motor cover, so I just stuffed them into the hat, and it worked out. Because you can't, or not the hat, but, like, in that housing on the top part of the SD10 where you can't see anything. I don't get how this isn't running. I don't understand why. Oh, here we go. Maybe I can plug it in there. Okay. Come on. Okay, there we go. All right, here we go. Hi, Worklight Studio Sirens. Meh. It's I'm gonna drop a resistor or two, and again, I want to get the approximate pitch. I don't want to step it down too much because yeah, definitely right, Screamer Weather. I'd rather have it be a slightly overpitched than slightly underpitched. Underpitched sirens make me mad. Here we go. Huh. Make sure that is spinning the right way. Yeah, that was spinning the right way. Yeah. Yeah, it's a little high pitch. Add one more resistor. I did that and it was too low. And yes, Siren Bench. Okay, here's the funny thing about this guy. He's a Jesus duck. He's holding, he says, give geese a chance. He's a duck and he's holding a dove. It doesn't make any sense, but it's just really funny to have that in the background. Yeah. That's really cool, EMC man. Didn't see that comment, sorry. Yeah. Okay, so now now it's like, gosh, it's to the point where, like, if I add a resistor, it's either too low pitch. If I take one away, it's either too high. That almost never happens. Let me try a different USB adapter. I have another one back here. I have lots of USB adapters. I actually have one built into my desk, which is really cool. Okay, let's try that again. Perfect. Okay. Okay, goes to show that if you just, you know, keep using different USB adapters, you'll eventually find one that runs it at the right pitch. 5 resistors is enough, so I'll get those out of there. I didn't need to use 6. That's great. All right, 5 was about the same number I used on the STH, and that's got perfect pitch. Yeah, I know, Z-Series fan. I didn't really think that through until I started printing it, but yeah. I don't know. They according to the ARS wiki, and it has been wrong before, it says that American Signal Corporation OM117s, you know, the standard is 8-port, and optionally they had dual tone ones, which would be 912. Yeah. I have no idea, Siren Bench. Here I am building one, but yeah, I don't know. No idea, Southwest Sirens. That's totally up to you. I would keep them on personally because it might make it more weatherproof if it's outside. Yeah. Yeah, nothing wrong with that. Banshee 115s were always 912. Yeah, no, actually, NTG, I'm so sorry I can't pronounce your username. NTG, they had 8-port Banshee 115s. Yeah. They did. They're actually pretty common. Now, of course, back then, dual-tone sirens were a lot more popular. Now they're not as popular. In fact, I think one of the only dual-tone sirens produced today is like Century's 40V2T and like the 10V2T and sirens like that. No, not the 10V2, the 15V2T and 20V2T. So many models that are so similar. All right, but yeah. You own an OC9. I never heard of that model. Yeah. Sorry, Sirens of Love 4 County. All right. By letter isn't an actual word. Okay, well, I'll keep calling you NTG. All right. If you wouldn't mind. I have no idea what an OC9 is. Somebody said they obtained one. I've never heard of that model. Sounds like a German siren. All right. But yeah, okay, so 5 resistors will do it. That's good. We can now start the assembly process for real now instead of me just toying around. Thank you. All right. Oh, things are annoying. I'm sure some of this looks like a pain. Hello, your forbidden microwave. Okay, let's like have some fun here. You know? I mean, we're already having fun, but 28 people watching. Thank you guys so much. All right. Now I'm gonna look like a scientist again here, sorry. Okay. Okay, I might check that out. Valley Pine Sirens. That's cool. I bet it's a small siren. What is this? Oh, it's a USB cable. Get that out of there. Okay, Siren Bench. Big question. Or big question. I have some mixed opinions. About that. He will be long missed for one. He was an OG siren maker, but I don't know. I think he's ready to move on. You know, like I'm not going to be here forever either. I might start an actual engineering channel after I have my fun with sirens. Yeah. No, Samsung motor will not fit a 4th scale 10V2T. I don't think so. Oh, interesting. Yeah, me too. Worklight Studio Sirens. I want to sell sirens there. It'd be really cool. Like I'd have my own stand at the next Siren Con, and you'd like get to meet me in person, and I could just sell you fully built models. It'd be really neat. I'll see if I can go next year. No guarantees or anything, but might go. We'll see. Yeah. Okay. What am I doing? Yeah, seriously. That is so true. That happened to somebody's AR timer, and I think it was an FC controller of some sort. They got stolen at the last Siren Con, which sucks. Those things are so expensive. Yeah. Yeah, no, it's fine, Siren Bench. All right. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to say about NASCAR leaving, but he was like one of my favorite siren YouTubers when I was first getting started. He still is now, you know. That wind down is insane. Yeah, that's pretty good. You have my STH10, Nancy Hildbrand. That's cool. Did you print it? Good. Well, I don't know if I'm going to solder yet. I'm not really sure what I'm going to do here, actually. Let's see. I might put like half the resistors in here and then like put the other half outside. I'll see about stuffing them in that tiny little pocket. I have limited room in here because proportionally the Banshee's motor is small. So if I wanted it to actually fit inside of the Banshee's hat, I had to make the motor cover small. Yeah. And I would just not add a motor cover because, you know, it's purely cosmetic and nobody's going to look under there. But the thing is, it's like the the motor cover lines up everything. Like it screws onto the stator and everything fits together. So it is definitely useful. If I don't want this thing to scrape like crazy. You got my 2001. That's awesome. Crazy Sirens, you have my 3T22, although it's a 2T22 right now. Yeah, sorry if the dampers are hard to assemble on that. Coated Sirens are a pain to make. But once you get like the distance of the cranks right, and you get it retracting, and you got all, you know, when the solenoid activates, it moves all the mechanisms, it shuts the damper, it opens, but it doesn't fully open. Oh, you just don't have the parts yet. Okay, yeah. Yeah, that siren has a lot of parts, but yeah. Once you get the dampers working, it's really quite fun. In fact, I do have my 3T22 just sitting up here. I don't know what an OC9 is. I've never heard of that model before. All right. Defender, nice. What am I doing? Okay, let's actually do this for real now. So I think I will begin by, well, let's just start with some resistors, I guess. Look it up on the A.S. wiki. Okay, I will look it up on the A.S. wiki. Does anybody get greeted by that big black screen that's verifying your security on the A.S. wiki? It's kind of annoying. All right, let's see. OC9. Oh, what? Somebody got one of these? That's awesome. It looks like a Darley model, too. The model OC9 is a small omnidirectional siren produced by Automatic Alarm Systems Company, based out in Chicago, Illinois. Not much is known about the company or the siren, and few units exist today, with one being in private possession. It's a 12-volt siren, so I'm sure that's really easy to run. It looks like a tiny, like, it's not a vehicular siren. It's like even smaller than a Model 2. It's like probably about the same output as like a Model A or something. Wow, that's cool. Terrible shipping for the 280 motor. Darn, that sucks. Yeah, can't blame Amazon all the time, but honestly, the shipper other times. Okay, so I will plug in the... And again, I'm having fun with my cable situation here. Ah, there you go. Okay. We have the glue gun now. We will really get to work here now. Not keep you guys waiting. Let me get my tools out. Okay. There you go. There's this annoying little tab that connected one of the terminals to the motor housing, or like this metal part, and it was annoying. I had to go. Probably the same size as the 4th scale screen. Yeah, probably. You wish you lived near Sirens again. That stinks. Yeah, I used to live near none. Then I moved to Tornado Alley. Okay. Yeah, there you go. Whatever. I don't want to break the brush on, or I don't want to break the tab on this. It's going to suck. We will bring out the tape here. And honestly, what I'm doing is I don't want the, here's what I think happens sometimes on some of my Sirens is that because I have the resistors, you know, on the side of the motor here, that it'll actually make contact with the body of the motor, which is shorted to one of the sides of the motor. And basically what that does is it's like it kind of shorts it out. You know, electricity always takes the path of least resistance, and so if I give it a little path, it's going to skip the resistors and run the siren at full pitch. So that's why I'm adding a little bit of tape here, so that way it doesn't make contact. Let's see if I can cut it right around here. 32 people watching. Thank you guys so much. All right. Cut that. Yeah. Yeah. I grew up near AM5, but they took it down before I ever like got to see it. It was before I got into Sirens. I had no idea what it was. I had no idea if it was 12 port or 8 port or 912 or anything, but it was a Model 5, and then it got taken down for unknown reasons. Don't know why. All right. Look. Let's see. All right, so yeah, this is just a little insulation on the motor. I'll put it together inside. Oh, it's going to eat up my tape, but that's okay. Wow, Greg 45. That is funny. That is interesting. Some really old SD10s on the deflection band have they say federal sign and signal on the deflection band. It's really cool. I wish more of those existed, but most of them don't have decals on them. I don't know who decides to put decals on them, but whoever does is genius. All right. Could I possibly help you make a 4th scale Thunderbolt? Well, I am not making a Thunderbolt, or at least it's not on my list of Sirens, because, you know, with me selling and all, making a Thunderbolt's pretty impractical, you know, given it's a Siren with a blower and a rotator and fun stuff like that. But I don't know, maybe in the future. I brought up earlier that I might make a P50, like a smaller 8th scale P50 in the future or something. But, you know, I don't have the time for that right now. So sorry about that. Maybe we can do that in the future when I'm not so busy. On that note, what is on your list? Actually, I can just check it right now. I haven't updated my list in months. But I do have a notepad just full of Siren requests. Let's see. All port, no, not that one. Did I get rid of it? That's strange. I think I wiped my computer and it's just gone. Request. How do I have that? I don't. Yeah, I lost it. I'm so sorry, people. I had a text file with a bunch of Siren requests on it like a long time ago and I lost it, so, or at least I can't search for it through Windows, so that's weird. Yeah, but what pretty much, and I haven't updated it in forever, but the last thing I saw on there was like, I think it was like a 3v8 or a 7v8 Banshee, and I mean, I already made those, so I don't think I did have a Thunderbolt on there though. Hello, Gaming with Johnny. Windows 11 moment, legit. All right, so I'm just chaining together these resistors. Just kind of boring, but those two just, I don't even know how that happened. Okay, that's not the question. Right? There we go. You should make a P10. Sorry, Radar Adventures, but I will not make a P10 or like a Siren that uses a rotator like that, because those chopper motor to rotators are just a nightmare to make. So, especially on a small scale. Like if it's 8th scale, there's no way. Okay. Resistoire. Okay. That sucks. Cut it too short. Oh, wait, no, I didn't. I want to bend these in advance, like bend the terminals in the right orientation that I want them in. That way I can just solder it all together in one go. Anyway, if I keep this here and, oh, here. I'm going to turn on my iron now. Plop. Oh, not so. Come on. Okay, whatever. I'm going to bring over my iron. Now the workbench is going to get really messy. All right. How about a 912 port A.C.A Screamer S10? I was considering the S10, but man, I really don't know about printing those louvers. The S10's louvers are so elaborate. And I can't verify whether or not it uses the same core as the Banshee. I think it does at 18 inches in diameter with the rotor, but if somebody could verify that in the chat, that would be nice. Yeah, and they were the largest of the Screamers, as well as the only dual-tone Screamers. I had a Screamer S2, and I know that's kind of a less popular Screamer, but the S2 is designed to compete with, like, the Model 2, and the Model 2 is, like, possibly the most popular Siren of all time, so I wanted an A.C.A Siren that was, you know, small. It's also quarter scale, so it's at the same scale as my Model 2, so it's pretty big. I'm printing one right now, actually. You have an S10. Okay, if you can measure that rotor for me and it's 18 inches, I might make one. Because then that means I can reuse parts from the Banshee. Right. There we go. You guys were asking last time, does soldering pose a health hazard? Well, if I'm in a stuffy room, probably, but I'm not, so. Well, it is stuffy, but I have a fan in here and ventilation, so hopefully that won't become a problem. Okay, let's see. I need tweezers. I need tweezers. I need tweezers. Da, 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 da. I got a tiny bit of solder on here. Oh, that's not coming off. Oh. Come on, baby. There you go. It's looking dark outside. There's a storm coming. I'm trying to inquire a Screamer S2. That's awesome. I'm trying to inquire about a Banshee, which is oddly enough the siren I'm building right now. Yeah. It's a yellow one, and it's 912 actually, so I really want a 912 siren. I actually have an SD10 literally down my road. Like, I could hear it if it went off, but it's inactive. Oh, that's what that sound is. Dang, raining. Okay. Thanks, Jace99. Yeah, I'm using my GoPro as a webcam, which I didn't do in the last stream, but now I'm doing it in this one. So it looks a lot better. I'm sorry you had to endure that in the last stream. That was pleasant. I mean, like, I was looking back at the stream, and it was entertaining. I couldn't stop watching it, like, replaying it, but, like, man, it sucked, that camera quality. Yeah, it is pouring rain right now. Holy crap, the trees. Do you guys hear that? Oh my gosh, I hope my power doesn't go out. Yeah, gotta love 812. Oh my good golly, I'm checking the SPC. It's just a whiteout outside. Where am I? I won't leave my location, but it's just a little pop-up cell. Boom, there goes my window. It's just, I can't see through it anymore. Whiteout conditions right now. Can you guys hear that through the stream? Wow. You can hear it, yeah. Hi, Harold. Wait, did Harold Hi-Hat join? Somebody said hi, Harold. All right. We're finally done with the boring part, I think, for the most part. That rain is incredible. Ah. Thought of making a Model 120. That's really cool. Yeah. All right. Hello, Commander Poultry. You were here last stream. Thanks for coming back. In fact, a lot of you guys were here last stream and are back, so thank you so much. Oh, would I be able to make a Model 120? Isn't the Model 120 the one with that weird fan on the intake? It's technically a supercharged siren. It's a supercharged screamer. I know we found one recently. Yeah, that one. I don't know. It's one of those sirens where I'm like, there's only like one in sole existence, and I don't really want to make one. That's like so rare. Also, the design is straight up funny. I'll just say that. Okay. Yeah, that's my thoughts on it. I might man up and do it in the future, though. But that's kind of almost the same thing as like somebody saying, make a P50 or something. You know, like, I don't know. I don't know if I'll do that. Like, I have a Cyclone, but have I done the Super Banshee? No, I've not made a Super Banshee. I feel like, yeah, the Super Banshee kind of suffers a similar fate as a lot of A.C.A's other sirens. It's just, they were trying to, sorry, milk models, there's pretty much a zero chance. If you wanted me to answer that question. Model 120s are weird. And they kind of confuse me. Like, years ago, I had the idea of actually putting a fan in a siren chopper. You know, thinking, like, what would that do? Would it be like the same as a compressor? I don't really know if it is or not, but yeah, it's pretty cool. I didn't know there was a design that actually did that. Guys, I don't think Harold Hi-Hat's in the stream. I don't see him talking. Harold Hi-Hat, if you are here, please say something. I might have missed you and completely spaced you entirely, and I'm sorry. You are! Thank you, Harold. I literally never saw that. I'm so sorry. Maybe think of the 105. Yes, I am thinking of the 105. Yeah, I wonder if they'll drop a warning for the storm. The 105. Trusty ARS wiki to the rescue here. Plot 105. Screamer 105. Short-lived supercharged screamer that was introduced alongside the others in 1968. Unique siren, blah, blah, blah. 8-port omnidirectional siren, motor over rotor. 5-horsepower Doer AC motor. Small chopper. 6-bladed axial fan. It is that weird one. Yeah. Was it a Screamer 108 or a Screamer 105 that Milk Bottles and Harold Hi-Hat found? I can't remember. It was one of those two weird ones. And both of you guys happen to be here, so that's really cool. Yeah, it was the 105? All right. Wow, that's cool. I bet you all know what the size of the chopper and stuff is. So I guess it wouldn't be that hard to make one, honestly. Yeah, 105. Not the 108. I don't even know what the 108 is. What is the 108? Was one of the original Screamer models. Early models had smaller shrouds, 3 eye bolts, blah, blah, blah. Oh, it was offered in 1012 port. It was also offered in 912, although it is likely they were offered in single tone as well as 812. Probably sounds like it's reusing alerter cores, but it doesn't say that. It's just a theory. Not much is known about the specific model, with one known active unit remaining in that town in Montana. 1012 that's awesome. It is just dumping right outside. The sun was shining like about an hour ago. Wow, that is some heavy rain. $120 has no vanes, has a supercharged, looks like a fan. Yeah. Really interesting. All right. Oh yeah, let me do some stuff again. I'm getting carried away with comments. Like, can I fit that in there? That is getting really crowded. What am I making? I am making, if you hadn't guessed, it is a A.C.A. Banshee 115 or an OM 117. I don't care. However you want to say it. It's A.S.C. gray, so I know it doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but yeah, this is not going to work, people. The resistor bank outside of the resistor, inside of the motor cover. So what I'm gonna have to do is actually quite simple. I'll take off the resistor bank. You know, easier said than done with that last part. I got my solder sector. Plop. Who's Damien? Hi, Damien. All right. Let's see if we can get this bank of resistors off. I was hoping to stuff 5 resistors, but oh, it's such a small motor cover. Like the STH10, which is also 8th scale, like the Banshee here. You know, its Valley motor cover could hold 5 resistors. This one can't hold them, so it's really interesting. I don't know why it can't. It's just so much smaller. So I'll have to hide them under the hat, which is kind of what I did with the ST10. I hid it inside of the area above the motor. Might make my STH10, put 3 T22 dampers. Yeah, that was really fun. I made it a mock-up STH10C with a, oddly enough, a 6th scale 3 T22 damper fit perfectly on the bottom of an 8th scale STH10. And how it works, I guess, is that the STH10 has a bigger core than the 3 T22, but they're at different scales. So that's, I guess, why they fit. It was really fun. Melt the plastic in the cover. Yeah, no, I'm going to try to avoid that if I can. I already did a little bit. Oh my gosh, that rain. I full disclosure, people, I have always wanted to be a storm chaser. I have watched the movie Twister since like 2017 or something. It'd be cool to do that, but here I am making Sirens, so maybe later in life. Right. Oh, there we go. Boom. All right, sorry, that was such a painful process to watch. Okay. Let's not do that ever again. Tear off the tape. Da-da-da. Right. So, we're gonna pop in the motor. Now, what I'm gonna do here is I'm actually gonna wire it up externally. That means outside of the motor cover in this case. When the files are available? When files available? Okay, Damien, if you're asking when the files are gonna be public for the Banshee, I had Siren Bench, fellow subscriber of mine who's in chat, print test the Banshee for me, both 8-port and 912 port variants, and they worked. So that's how I know that this Siren actually works. Thank you, Siren Bench. Thing is, I think I'll release the files like probably tomorrow, probably after the stream. You know, once we build one that works. You know, but yeah, once we get a feel for it, I will release the files, and then you guys can print them yourself. If you guys didn't see it here, the Banshee is really quite small. Like, I made it 8 scale to rival the SD10 because it's such a similar sized Siren. But the Banshee is definitely smaller than the SD10. I will say that. Oh, garbage is falling everywhere. Yeah, my workbench looks so pretty right now. Just cut the wires to be that long. Okay. What I'm doing is I'm adding an extension to my brushes. I'm going to attach some cables to it so I don't rip off the tabs, but also so that way I can wire up the USB and the resistors externally. So yeah, really exciting. Okay, right now I will just pop this in here. Come on, I want both of these to be about the same length. Okay. Good rumbles of thunder out there. There looks to be either some really heavy rain or possibly hail. Moto! Yes, gaming with John. Yeah. Am I able to drive yet? No. I will be 15 this September, and well, I think that means by 15, I think I can get like a young permit or something like that, or I can start driving at 15 with an adult. But yeah, I wish I could drive. Then I'd probably drive the Sirens more often. What? Same exact age to me down to the day. I think I remember that. That's crazy. Was it down to the year, though? That would be crazy. Crazy cool. All right. Oh, my gosh. I'm melting my Jesus duck. No, he's okay. The hot glue gun was touching his butt. All right. Let's just put a little bit of support glue on here. Yeah. All right. Oh, gosh, my glue gun. My glue gun has a little kickstand, and I kind of forget that it's there. And sometimes I don't use it. Oh, my gosh. I have to stuff it in the cables first. Okay, we are almost there, people. The housing will be probably the easiest part of making this siren. obviously the most tedious part's wiring in all the resistors. But once we get through that, it's just screwing together the housing pieces, and that's pretty easy considering. Come on, you had one space to go. There we go. Okay, go down. Here. And see what we just did is now it's, we got a motor cover with some bare cable. I gave it extra long cables because I wasn't sure where it was going. Okay, here's the really weird part. Like, I don't know why, I don't know what A.C.A was thinking here, but like, why doesn't the, how to say this? People who model Sirens in chat will know what I'm talking about. Why are the screw holes in this order? Why is there 6 copies here? Like, they're in a hexagonal shape, and then there's just one up here. Like, why did A.C.A do that? I think it's weird. Like, why? This is, by the way, this is 12 port on the top. There's 12 ports on the top. Why didn't they just do 6 holes, evenly spaced? I don't know why. It's because of the coded intake. Oh. Well, good news. Mine doesn't have a coded intake, so I don't have to deal with that. Original for the Super Banshee, and the pattern was for the coded intake. Wow, that's cool. Well, that makes a lot of sense because it's kind of like Federal repurposing SD10 cones for 500s. Reuse parts, make them the same. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I think on the Cyclone, I noticed this when I was designing it, but there's like a little pocket for where the damper armature would go, and mine obviously doesn't have that, but if it did, it does have a little spot for it. It's pretty cool, actually. One of my favorite parts of making Sirens is figuring out how they were put together. Right. I hope that isn't a problem. Okay, no, that's fine. I just, yeah, I hope I'm assembling this right. Oh, wait, I can tell. You see, if I get this printed pretty well, by the way. I mean, a little messy on the bottom, but this is kind of cheap filament. Once I phase out my filament, I will print it in higher quality. I have this like Bamboo Lab filament. It is honestly spoiling rotten my Ender 3. I mean, it's kind of a higher end Ender 3. It's the V3 A.S.C, but this is some really good filament. That's actually what I printed the red one with. See? And this printed perfectly. Like, I've never seen... This was supported. You can't even tell, okay? It looks so good. This one, you can tell. Yes, I use Tinkercad. Yeah. A lot of people underestimate how good Tinkercad is sometimes, because Tinkercad has lots of new tools that they didn't have originally, and I love using those tools, like the sketch tools. It is incredibly easy to use Tinkercad. If I were to reply to that, Commander Poultry. Gosh, I don't know. It's not like Blender where you're like overwhelmed by like a bajillion options. It's very simple. It's user friendly, if you will. And then it does have some downsides. Like I have to go model like my Sentry Siren horns in Sculpt GL. But even then, I use Tinkercad a little bit. I start with blocky shapes, and then I fuse the blocky shapes together. Oops. I smooth them together, and then Sculpt GL does that. Then I import them, and that's how I make super realistic horns. When are you going to start upping the poly count? I don't know. A lot of my older Sirens were like really low poly count, like 64 on a huge stator, and it's annoying. I might redo those. Honestly, you can't tell sometimes, though. My STL stator is like that, and you can't really tell. Yeah. But newer Sirens, man, like the Banshee, you can't even see you can't see the polygons on it, see? And this is only 80 sides, I think. Yeah. The Cyclone's like that, too. It's got 80 sides on everything. Yeah. I think the 14V is like that. I can kind of see it. On shape is overwhelming. I was going to try it, but then I saw a tutorial on it, and I was like, no. And it might be good once I get used to it. But like, if I switch to a different modeling software, my models would plummet in quality. They really would. So, all right, is this the right? No, this is not the right screwdriver. Not the right screwdriver. Okay, here we go. We've done 2 by 10. I don't use the other ones long enough. Yeah, what's annoying with the Banshee is that like a lot of the screw lengths have to be very precise. Very precise screw lengths, or else it's going to whack into stuff it shouldn't. Hopefully, I don't encounter any of those today. And Fusion. Yeah, Tinkercad and Fusion go good together. They're by the same company, Autodesk. Tinkercad's just very simple Fusion, from my understanding. And then Fusion's for pros. That's so funny, Jev. It's really cool. Depends on how big you made it. If you scale up a quarter scale siren with 2mm holes by like 200% to make it, oh no, I said it did others. You scale up a 6 scale siren 200% to make it a 3rd scale siren, and it has 2mm holes, like my 10B2T, like you said. The holes would be like, I think they'd be 4mm. I don't know how it works, but guess. 150. Okay, that's then that adds up to 3mm perfectly. Conveniently, an M2 screw, which has a like about a 2mm size hole thing, whatever. Or the thread, sorry, the thread diameter is about 2mm. It threads perfectly into a 2mm hole. Same for M3s and I think M4s, but I haven't used M4s ever. All right, guys, moment of truth. Will this spin smoothly? All right. Okay. Yeah. Let me push that in more. If it gets stuck, I have an emergency tool. Oh. Wow, that sounds weird. If you growl a directional siren in your ear, it sounds so weird. It sounds so choppy. And I think it's a combination of, obviously, the rotor design, how it pulls in air like this, and the directional ports, but also, like, on the stator, it has knife edge ports, and that makes it really sharp. That doesn't sound good. Okay, it doesn't scrape. Not unless I've held it sideways, 90 degrees. Let's see. Guys, I'm going to run up my Banshee here with my resistor bank. Oh, wait. This is going to mute it. Let me do this. We'll stack some of these things. Very temporary setup here, just to see what's going on. Oh, and for the fun of it, put the hat on it. Now it looks like a Banshee. Oh, wait, I forgot this. Puh. Puh. I'm losing my mind here. All right. Come on. All right. I'm just going to sit. Everything's going to sit where it needs to go. That's what I'm doing. Oh, it looks so cool. And yeah, this thing's very small. I think it's probably, if I were to guess, probably about the same size, if not smaller, than Snowcube's Banshees. I think his sirens are like 7th scale and mine are 8th scale. So, about similar size. Hey. Why aren't you turning on? Why aren't you turning on? Hello. Sure. Nope, that's got power. Here, let me try my gate eclipse. Alligator. All right, come on. Negative there. Come on. What did we do? Why is there no power? Come on. We just are not getting power. Let me check my connect. No, I can't check my connections. I sealed up the motor cover. We just do not have power, and I don't know why. Ooh, lightning. Alright, maybe I'm... Holy moly! There she blows. Don't worry, guys. I'm not in a tornado or anything, but it sure sounds like it. Here's what I'd do if there was a tornado. Yeah, I'd go outside and I'd hear my wheelins. I have wheelins near me. Probably wouldn't get that on stream, though. I have a GoPro and a computer to deal with. Alright. So everything's wired. It's just like not turning on. Come on. Hi, David. Right. Why are we not getting power? Alright. Remember how I said at night I might need to remove the chopper? Well, I did something really funny to my pliers. I wrapped them in electrical tape, so I can do this. Look, I can pull on my resin rotor and just clink, and it comes out. Yeah. Oh yeah, Matthew, that's awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah, no, I skipped the resistors just to see if there's a problem. There's not. Like, I'm connecting power and nothing for some reason, so. That's fun. Alright, I'm gonna speed this process up. Get my electric screwdriver. Yeah, I hate to say this, guys, but I might be opening with only one siren, like, in stock. Well, one siren and a Banshee. That will be this one I'm building right here, but I hope that's not the case. I hope to order more motors by the time that happens. And then I can keep building models. Some of which I'll be doing in my own free time off stream, but I'm streaming this time. What was that? It sounded like SpongeBob. I heard nothing except that big crackle of thunder. All right, here we go. Oh, dude, what is wrong with this? It's wired and everything. Oh, it just started buzzing. Okay. Oh no. My motor doesn't sound healthy. It's like it's shorting. That's so weird. That's not good at all. Wait. It's working now. Don't fail me now. Oh, it's a faulty solder joint. All right. Quit buzzing. I gotta resolder something. No, I don't think we'll have to cancel it. I gotta. As far as I am seeing here. Okay. My last 130 motor, and I'd be like, oh, well, one died. I'll just get another one. Well, yeah, this is the only one I got right now. I gotta buy more. Yeah, I might be something wrong with the brushes. I took this motor apart several times because it was my only motor. It was my experimental motor. That's so weird. Oh my gosh. It sucks. Okay. Well, let me try something. We're going to take it out of the motor cover and unfortunately run diagnostics. Well, that's not the problem. There. Yeah, I think it's dead too. I think the brushes are going out. I think I'll change them, which means I need to resolder this. Ah! Oh my gosh. All right. These brushes are dead. Goodbye. Fortunately, I have a bunch of old 130 motors that I can salvage parts from. So I'm going to get it real quick. There. Look familiar, guys? Yeah, it's one of the garbage 130s. That's why I don't use these for mini Sirens. They suck. Right? But I will rob the... Oh my gosh. I don't know if you guys saw my post from earlier, but I was freaking out about... Gosh, I was freaking out about my 130 motors I bought. They were crappy. Look, it has the same exact core. And this is 30,000 RPM, which means they sent me the wrong product. Yeah, wow. Anyway, now I have a new motor cap with new brushes, and I can toss this old one. Okay, actually, I'm just going to throw this away because this is actual garbage. I have like 50 more of those motors. Okay, realistically, probably like 10, but... I have a lot of them. Classic Amazon. Yeah, I'm going to have to return the ones I bought. They suck. They had misstated specs. The specs on it were actually wrong. I couldn't believe it. I was so mad. Wanted to leave a negative review. Okay. Right. But yeah. Duck. Yes, duck. Yeah. But yeah, kind of like changing brushes on a model too, you know? That's what it reminds me of whenever I change brushes on these motors. Right. And now it looks like one of those cheap 130 motors because of the gosh, I can't talk. Because of the white end cap, but I assure you it's a very low RPM motor. Yep, listen to that. Okay. I hope the audio quality is like higher because I'm using my GoPro. I think it is. There we go. Sounds identical. Now I just got to make sure this still spins in the right direction because it might have flipped direction or something. I don't think it did. And, oh, it did flip direction. Wow. Okay, so positive is negative and negative is positive. That's not confusing at all. Look at this. It's spinning the wrong direction. I think, yeah. It's hard to see it on the camera, but it's going this direction, which is against the ports, not with them. So, or with them, not against them, something like that. I'm not sure how you say that. But I'll just remember that. I'll wire it up backwards. When are you going to open up my store? I will open it up. Gosh, I've had a few delays. One of them is the fact that I ordered 130 motors and the specs were straight, like outright wrong. And I have to return them and get new ones. So, yeah, that's one of the things slowing me down. After that, I hope to be in business here. And I think that'll be probably like a couple more days. And I got to buy wicks, which is expensive. But I'll get over it. It'll be so worth it in the end. Making money doing something I actually like doing. So, right? Yeah. So I hope that answered your question. Where did you find your endless pit of money? My endless pit, my friend, is almost out. Gosh. Like, I don't have much money. I have $80 in my savings. $14 in my checking account. It's shrinking by the minute. I think I have just enough to buy wicks, though. And then we will be off. Oh, and more motors. Okay, I need to cut these ridiculous terminals off. Cut. All right, and I don't care about the length of cut. It's nice how these are pre-soldered, these cables. There we go. Right, I hope to speed up this process soon, but my motor died, and that's something I can't really control. There we go. Okay, people, I'm almost done. How do you even earn money? Allowance from my parents, and gosh, I don't know. Money doesn't grow on trees. Honestly, I am gonna have to owe it all to my parents. They help me buy stuff for my Sirens, and now I won't be making them for myself. No, I actually don't get money off YouTube. I don't think I have enough watch hours to be monetized or whatever. I wish I did. Oh well, maybe I don't. What are the coordinates that are in this pile of money? The cloud. They're in my bank account. I'm serious. All right. The cloud. All right. Sacrifice. By sacrifice, I mean clean up my workbench. Yeah, I'm sure this isn't all that fun for you to watch me struggle with a motor, but it is what it is. How much would you sell an 8-hour print with a 390 motor and a transformer for power? I'm not even sure how to answer that question. I don't use transformers. Oh, by the way, if I were to... Oh, yeah, gaming with Johnny. I resin 3D print my rotors. That's why they spin literally perfect. I mean, almost. Yeah. Resin printing is incredible. It, like, uses a laser, or not a laser, but an LCD screen to print every layer, and it's really, really freaking cool. It makes like perfectly balanced, super straight parts. And quite frankly, the only thing that isn't straight is my like stators and stuff. Yeah. That's awesome, Brendan Kimmins. Ooh, putting on a poll. Yep, it does. Crazy Sirens is correct. All right. Little screw is the way out. Little screw is the way out, which means that's pieces. Almost done, people. Almost done, and my housing pieces are... The housing will be really quick to put together. But honestly, if I can't, you know, build this in one night, I'm going to have to call the stream off and either resume it the next day or just do it myself. Yeah. Yeah. Will sandpaper work to make it straight? Yeah, I sand it. I had to sand my Model M's rotors a little bit, or sorry, the stators. No, I did both the rotors and the stators, and then it spun perfectly. Hello, coming from Texas. Hello, train guy. Yeah, will I ever make a 508? I was actually gonna make a 508, and then when it came to modeling that horn, I quit. Like, seriously. So, and then, you know, a 508, the horn was proving to be absolutely massive. I could not print it on my little printer. Not easily, anyway. I'd have to print it in sections, and I'm really not a fan of doing that. Last time I printed a siren in sections, it was my life-size siren, and that went horribly wrong in every way. Gosh. Ugh, flashbacks. I guess that's why I get discouraged about, you know, making sirens so big. Every time I think about that. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I hope that answers your question. It is what it is. Oh, yeah. Balanced. That's what it sounds like in my ear. Oh, what's my cable doing over here? All right, guys. S10. Or, no, did I say S10? My gosh. I looked at the rotor and just thought S10. No. Banshee. All right. Let's run this real quick through the resistors. Oh, it is spinning the right direction. All right. Let me get some of the housing pieces out of the way. All right. I got to remember that I'm actually selling these. I'm not making them for myself, so I got to be really careful with them. Here we go. Ha! That was so cool. No, sorry, what happened there? I had a little hiccup with it. A little over pitched. It's kind of weird. But I can add as many resistors as I want because I'm not putting it in the motor cover. Watch this, guys. You know how I got it to? I can make my sirens break. It's really cool. If I short the motor while it's winding down, then any electricity that it generates will cause it to break. Banshee doing Yelp confirmed. Yeah, I've never heard of Banshee do Yelp. Yeah. Here. Let's do Yelp. So how I did that is I short the motor, and it causes the motor to break more or less. It's really cool. Now with an AC motor, it like switches the poles in the motor or something, and that causes it to run it backwards for a few seconds. The principles behind how mine does Yelp is entirely different. It'd be really cool to actually build like a controller for it that just ran the siren backwards for a few seconds, like I was doing, or no, to run the siren backwards for a few minutes, and that would theoretically make it do like a weird mimic of a Yelp. Yes, they use a capacitor. Yeah, mine won't have that funny capacitor wind down like a Sentry or an S2, but it is cool. I don't know. That's so cool, Jev. 5 resistors. Okay. I hope this doesn't add too much resistance. Okay. Nah. Let me try an actual USB and not my bench power supply. Oh, seriously. Thank you, Sirens of Central Ohio. I hate the wind down on the S2, okay? It is just, it makes the siren sound stupid, okay? That regenerative brake. I don't know why they even add those. But anyway, yeah, if I'm making, if I'm making I am making S2s, but when I sell them, they won't, they'll use a DC motor, which doesn't have that funny brake thing, and it'll sound like a 3-phase S2. Anyway, run it off an actual USB. Oh, I didn't plug it in. Whop. Yep. Close enough. Again, we got to consider the fact that the user is going to have to find a USB adapter that runs the siren at a realistic pitch. Otherwise, it might sound a little funny. Okay, now let me get this out here. Making my workbench a little cleaner, a little bit at a time. Now, what I'm going to do here, this is pretty cool. Won't be so boring. Is we'll start putting the housing together, and then of course wiring it will probably be the last step before we put the hat on. Yeah, this core is almost perfectly aligned. That's pretty good right there. Doesn't scrape at all. Wow, it doesn't scrape when I have it like this. My desk is messier. Well, thank you. That makes me feel a lot better. No, seriously. All right, let's put the skirt on. Okay. These holes came out a little fuzzy. This looks like a 500. Let's give me 500 vibes. How about you guys? Oh, actually a better, well, oh, I did not think about this. Wait, no, I'll put the screws on later. Sorry. I'm thinking about how I'm going to assemble this. There's an order here. If I screw up the order, I really mess up this assembly. I think I forgot. Good thing I have my computer right here. I forgot the length of a screw I needed to put on these bottom ones. It has to be a very specific size or else, well, let's just say it's going to look really funny. Let me open up the TCAD files. I love calling it TCAD for short. Toinker, or just Tinker. Okay, no. Brim. No, not that. Here. I'm totally doing this with a touch screen. Let's see. It's best to use specifically M2x10s on these bottom screws so that way they don't stick up into the stator ports. That's why I'm doing this. That's why. It's so that it doesn't stick up into the stator ports. Which won't, it won't, you know. Gosh. What is my, I can't find my wording here. Even if it sticks up into the stator ports, it's not going to stick into the rotor and cause scraping, but it's just going to look ugly, having little screws in the stator ports. Am I Hispanic? I'm not going to answer that question. All right. I should make a Denver siren. Somebody here made a Denver siren. Somebody in the chat did make one. I can't remember who it was. Siren Bench, you made one. Oh my gosh, this thing is different. Yep, Jev made one. Awesome. Not much longer here, people. This is a very bare bones siren, so. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Pop! I don't know if you guys saw what I just did there, but it was wrong. Okay, there we go. Assembling these is always an interesting process, to say the least. Okay. Be careful, SpongeBob. You call me a troublemaker? Is that what you're doing? Because SpongeBob is a troublemaker. Okay. Hello. Oh my gosh. Epic fail number 15. Maybe I got the screw size wrong because that was an M2x10 and that was not long enough. Which means I need to go write that in the Tinkercad project that it's wrong. Yeah. Thanks. Thanks, Gaming with Johnny. It's a really nice electric screwdriver. This is so weird. Maybe it's an M2x12. Maybe I'm getting that confused. I get 10s and 12s confused all the time. But we're almost there. It's just a few 5 screws on the bottom, 5 very intelligently spaced screws, and then we'll be done. Well, then the hat, but yeah, then we'll literally be done. And then we have to wire it up. 8 port. That's so cool, EMC. I'm glad you could repurpose my models and make something cool out of them. Yeah, I wish this thing printed better. I mean, it printed okay, good enough that I will sell it, but let's just hope somebody doesn't look at the bottom of the Banshee skirt and say, wow, that looks really ugly. Okay, it's not that bad, but it could be better. Let's just say that. I blame Sunloose filament. Holy mackerel! Look at how much that sticks up into the port. Okay, that's what I was talking about. Hey guys, who is it? Oh, is it I forgot his name. He made a Mini 2001 in 4th scale. And he sold one to Palmer Divide Sirens. He does something to his rotor where he like puts slots in the stator holes and it causes it to have a really long wind down or something. I don't know how it works. I really don't know how it works. But maybe this will make the wind down longer. I don't know. Shoot, just scratched it. So I did this wrong. Well, anyway, knowing that, I'm not doing that again. M2x12 is way too long. Okay. Let's try this one. I also forgot to put in the intake. I think the Banshee's intake looks really questionable, but it does work. You know, I can kind of see where like they welded it together. You know, Unreal ones. They had an A.C.A Banshee core at SirenCon. I already modeled my Banshee by the time that happening though, so but that would have helped me so much when I was modeling the core. Yeah, that's okay. There's enough videos on YouTube of people's privately owned Banshees. We're almost there. Am I doing everything right? That's way too short. I mean, that doesn't give me any thread. Do you see that? There's like no thread. Right. This sucks. I messed up the screw lengths. I don't know. It's not working out. Right, 1.5 hours in, 1.5 plus. That would be interesting. Gaming with Johnny. What you can do, and this wouldn't be too hard, is get my Sterling Model M. You can make it a long rotor by borrowing, I think, like by borrowing the like 10V's longer rotor, and then fitting it for the. Gosh, I can't talk. Use my 10V's rotor, put it on the Sterling. Oh, making the whole thing from scratch. Okay, cool. Yeah, long rotor ones are cool. My gosh. Let's play a game called I Can't Screw tonight. Okay. Come on. I hope this isn't too long. If it is, so be it. Okay, there we go. It's actually going in. You know, it's so weird because in the Tinkercad project, I measured everything precisely, and an M2x10 would fit in here perfect, but clearly not. It's an M2x12, so sorry about that, Siren Bench. I don't know if you used M2x10s on the bottom intake. It's best to use M2x12s. I'll rewrite that. Okay. Just screwing the core on. This looks so cool. Looking at it from the bottom. Yeah. And my Sirens are not, you know, I have not heard that. Or maybe I have and I don't know the title. Thanks, Gaming with Johnny. Who's saying 80 pounds of bacon? The guy was saying that from like the beginning of this stream. Screamer 105. Oh gosh, I'm gonna leave that to Milk Models and Harold Hi-Hat because, well, I don't want to make a supercharged siren. Federal or A.C.A. Oh man, I am so biased about that, but listen, here's my opinion. I kind of advocate for federal in this case because they've kind of so they've been around a lot longer than A.C.A. Let's say that. And I feel like their sirens have been more popular than A.C.A. Unfortunately, you know, it's just kind of the truth. Not say like their sirens are so cool. I think if the Hurricane were a little more energy efficient and popular, it would totally beat the Thunderbolt. But the Thunderbolt takes the cake, you know, stuff like that. I could go on and on and on about why Federal triumphs over A.C.A., but also reasons why A.C.A. triumphs over Federal, you know? So they have their ups and downs. Am I out of school yet? I am homeschooled, so technically I'm still doing school. It's not that bad, though. I finished early. I love A.C.A. Sirens. Copy that rubber duck. All right. Let me check the screw length on this. It's really cool having my computer here. Let me guess, M2x4s? M2x4s. You know what? That's not going to work. I'm going to do an M2x5. It's a weird screw size, but I just so happen to have it. All right, this will be easy. Let me magnetize my screwdriver. Yeah. Let me hang on. Oh my. It's like these screws aren't magnetic. It's like they aren't magnetic. What the heck? Oh, there we go. This thing runs out of, it stops being magnetized after a while. It's interesting. I don't know why. It just does. All right. M2x5. Oh, there we go. Yeah, I'm using an M2x5. No kid's gonna put their finger in there. Well, hopefully not. I keep the screws on the short side because I don't want somebody poking their finger on them. Copy that rubber duck. What are you guys saying? I knew putting that in the background would be a bad idea. All right. Okay. Hopefully this will be flush on the bottom. It won't cause this thing to stand weird and awkwardly. Gosh. My gosh. We have almost been streaming for 2 hours. Almost. I hope to have it done by the 2-hour mark, just like we did with the STH. Funny enough, that thing had, just for the horns, 24 screws, okay? And I could not, I was able to finish it in there. I do have one of those screwdriver magnetizers. I have one here on my tower of screws. And it does work, but there we go. See? What better, STH or STL? Popularity-wise, definitely the STH10, but actually performance-wise, well, technically the STH, but I've heard that STL10s carry further because they're lower tone. I don't know if that's true, though. They're 1 decibel less, 1 decibel quieter than the STL or STH. Great question, honestly. They're almost identical in performance. I have thought about that. I was actually, here's a fun leak to a video I was going to make a while back when I was making the 3T22. I was going to I was gonna mock up, just for fun, put my 3T22's dampers on my 40V2T, which is, by the way, super broken right now. I have to fix it, but I was gonna do that and make it a 40V2T3S. I know they never existed, unfortunately, but oh well. Okay, I got the direction right, because this is where the USB cable pops out. Right. What do you think? We have a skirt. All right, we're almost done. Now we just got to wire up the USB and discreetly hide it. I guess we're going to have to hide it a bit. But I think in 20 minutes we'll be done here. Okay. Banshee. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to hearing 912 here. Directional 912, not just 912. That was so weird. I half cut the wire and I stripped it in the process. I'm going to go with it. Well, no, I need to strip one. A.S.C, A.C.A, or BNN. Sorry, guys. Definitely not BNN. They were not very popular. Probably, all right, pick one of those. Maybe A.C.A. A.C.A. Well, no, A.C.A. is suffering bankruptcy. A.C.A. has suffered bankruptcy like 4 times or something. I've counted. I don't know. They've had problems like that. A.S.C. not as much. Not so far, anyway. It was so sad when they discontinued the Cyclone, but then they decided to carry over a dual tone siren to A.S.C. And they made it. They produced it for a few years, but then they discontinued. I get it. The Banshee, the Cyclone's a super power hungry siren, as demonstrated by my use of 280 motors. But yeah, it's interesting. How much have I got to hide here? Put this hat on. Look at that. It's a Banshee. Just need to put the hat on. Answer you. Oh yeah, do you still permit me to make paperweights to sell? I don't know what that means. What's a paperweight in your case? Okay. Just seeing how I can hide this. Nobody's gonna look up into this thing and say, wow, I see some bare cables. 1-star review. No, I'm just kidding. Maybe I'll add a review feature to my website. Okay. All right. I think it's still raining up there. Okay. Oh, wow, that's cool. Okay. Almost done here, people. Wow, this thing has gotten hot enough that it, like, burns to hold the handle. All right. Oh, yeah. Honestly, Valley Pine Sirens, they can be functional. Just, Siren Con's already over. I don't know if you did that or not. I'd be fine if you did. But, just credit me for the original files and you're good. Yeah. Okay, we'll put that there. We're almost done. Just got to put the spacer here. Now I'll make the functional ones. Awesome. That sounds great, Valley Pine Sirens. But not if I'm there. Might be at SirenCon next year. We'll see. I'm so going to sell my minis there. Yeah. That would be impossible, Sirens vacuums. I mean, like, to print. First off, you're starting with a horn that a man can stand in. You're starting with a rotor that is almost 2 feet in diameter. Yeah. Crazy stuff. All right, I'm going to start wiring this together. Okay. Come on. Right. One last solder joint. We're done. Wiring up the resistor bank. Here's our last solder joint. Okay. Oh, yeah. Oh, no. I warped my wire. That could I think one of those exists. Sirens vacuums. Didn't NASCAR Sim Racing make one? A 1-to-1 scale Century 95 or something? Or was that British copy of a Century 95? I forgot what it was called. Yeah, he did. Really cool. He told me it had a longer wind down than a real one. Really cool. It's almost that's time. I'll try to keep my streams like 2 hours long, because any longer than that's like crazy. That is ridiculous. Thought he only made a half scale one. Can you pre-order? No. You cannot pre-order my Sirens. That's just not how my site works. But as soon as it's in stock, feel free to order it. They'll be in stock in random colors, so just pick your favorite color or any color that's in stock. And port ratios. Port ratios will vary depending on what's in stock. And then, yeah. Customizability. Hope that answers your question. My gosh. I can't seem to strip this wire. There we go. That's all I needed. Okay. Almost there. Almost there. One of these solder joints. Oh, hey, Siren Maniac is here. What's up? I'm almost done building this 912 port Banshee / OM117. I'm calling it a Banshee because I think OM117 sounds weird. Sounds like a robot serial number. OM117. All right. The Banshee just sounds classic, you know? Okay. Theoretically, I can run this up. Let's see what pitch we get. Oh, yeah. A little louder if you lift it. A little bit. Yeah, I will run it on a different USB adapter. This one tends to run it at a higher pitch. A few more days. Crazy Sirens. Okay. Yeah. This one will be sold, by the way. Sorry, Lightning VR. That sucks. I lost my Sentry 40V2T. Need to build a new one. Okay, I hope nobody looks under here and sees this giant, just ugly resistor chain that I made. It is what it is. Gosh. Put another piece of tape over it, just to protect the connections and stuff. When is my next stream? Okay, so here's the deal. I don't know. I'll see about doing this Siren in one stream. It's getting late. I'm getting tired, honestly. I've been streaming for almost 2 hours. This one's been a little more fun, let's say, than the S.T.H. I don't know why, but the motor broke down once or twice. But yeah, my next stream probably could be tomorrow if I don't finish this today. Gosh, I just lost my train of thought. Basically, whenever I have a Siren that I want to build, I have an S2 that I'm printing right now. Might do that on stream too. I need to order more motors though, because if you guys hadn't heard about the fiasco I had with motors today, gosh. Yeah, I can try A.S.C. or A.C.A. It's just kind of harder for me to do it during the day sometimes because I got stuff going on. All right, guys, we will put on the hat and we will literally be done. It's like all we have to do. And well, before we do anything major, I'm going to, of course, get my soldering iron out of here. Gosh. And then I will run this on a different USB adapter. No, I'm not plugging it into my computer. I don't want to fry my computer. I don't need that on either. Bye-bye, hot glue gun. Okay, let's run it off this USB adapter, see what pitch we get. Dang. Sucks. try this one. I think this was lower last time. Okay. So it's slightly overpitched. Oh well. Good enough. This thing is not very loud. Yes, it absolutely can. Yeah, not much torque. Actually, that's why 130 motors have like crazy high RPMs and work for mini Sirens, is because they don't have much torque. And because they don't have much torque, they simply can't run a Siren up to that full speed, that no-load speed. And that's why it works so well. All right, what size of screws did I use on the hat? I think I used like... It was a certain size. I also am going to put eye bolts on here. Half of them will be eye bolts. Okay. M2 by 8s. I hope I'm right. But I did measure this, so... Oop, should be close. Yeah, it's slightly overpitched. It's kind of a downer. I might add a resistor. Hi, Brendan Kimmins. Welcome back. Kind of a downer that the pitch is that high. I don't know. That bothers me personally, but... Oh, there you go. I can hide it behind here. Oh, hey, let me add some glue. Just to glue it in place. I'm adding a little bit of glue to hold the resistor bank in one spot. Boom. All right, there. Now we have minimized room. Yeah, I might add another resistor. It's weird because when I was messing around with it earlier, it was like, oh, this is too high pitch, or this. I was messing around with resistors earlier, and this combination earlier was like perfect pitch. And now it's not, so oh well. You win some, you lose some. There we go. Now it's really looking like a Banshee. Any updates on the T121? So the thing with the T121 that I'm gonna have, he's in chat, gosh. I'm gonna have Siren Bench print test that one for me. It's not quite ready yet. I have to set up the project, get all the links going, get all the notes going, and then I will release that. That'll be right after the Banshee, when the Banshee comes out, and that'll be right after this stream. So you can look forward to that pretty soon. Yeah, I'm quite looking forward to that Siren. My only downer with that, I guess, is that the wind-up is not going to be super realistic for a multitude of reasons. The wind-up is going to be very realistic. Wow, the rain is dumping again. The wind-down, or the wind-up is going to be really slow because I'm using a 130 to power it. And I don't know why, but the wind-up of like a real Tempest is like super quick because it uses a DC motor. And gosh, it is just, yeah, I wish I could replicate that sound. But yeah, it's going to have a really slow wind-up. But oh well, it's just a mini model. What's your favorite mini, and what Sentry horns are better, flat or slanted? I like the tipped horns a lot. I don't know why. They look cool. New Sentry horns after 2010 have tipped horns. The 40V2T, however, which is older than that, it always had tipped horns. It's really interesting. That's like an exception. Oh, there you go. Okay, you can go down. Oh wait, I can't see what I'm doing, so I'm kind of guessing where I am. Oh my gosh. We're almost done, people. Yep, mini Banshee 115. I guess you could call it an OM 117, but it's 912, so probably more realistically a Banshee. Oh my gosh, that's going horribly wrong. Putting in the eye bolts are going to be fun. You don't really like sentries. Why? Sentries are awesome. And they look kind of weird, but yeah. Yeah, there is. Okay, fun fact, Siren vacuums. There is a 40V2T with flat horns. There's actually two in existence. I saw them. They're in Atoka, Oklahoma. I drive down to Texas to see family every now and then, and I pass by Atoka and I see their flat horned 40Vs. It's really weird. The ARS wiki claims that it's a gosh, it's the 10V2T's horns on a 40V2T, which is weird because they don't line up at all. You know, the size of a 10V2T's horns. So I don't really know how that works, but yeah, it's really weird. They were some of the first production 40V2Ts ever, from my understanding. Really cool. Okay. Oh, I didn't get the screw going. Here, let me use this. Can you see the motor on the siren? A little too late because I sealed it up, but it uses a 130 motor. Let me screw that in a little more. Okay, that's really in there now. Is this one in there? Almost there, people. This thing's not super loud, by the way, because I went with a dual tone model. You know, I feel like, why is it lopsided? Why is it lopsided? Oh my gosh, did I screw it in the wrong places? Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. I hope I didn't just create new threads. I could have. No? Right there. And none of this lines up. I don't get it. Come on. Let me get down and see what's going on. Oh my gosh. I don't know what's happening here. But yeah. There goes my hot glue gun. Okay. It's hard to see the holes. Oh, there we go. There's one of them. Da-da-da. Boom, that's in. Okay, the other one. This is looking so much like a snow cube Banshee. It's really cool. Why is the hole there? I'm so confused. Did I make a modeling error on this or what? Maybe it'll just fit together once I put the rest of this stuff in. I'm so confused though. Like, look at that. Well, wait, does it look good? Does it look fine? I'm trying to see, it's like not centered. It's so weird. Wait, guys, let me show you. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Look. Do you see that? This is like, it's off by a little bit. No? Nobody's seeing that? I'm so confused. It's driving me nuts. Here, let me switch the screws. Hello, Tulsa Metro Sirens. All right. I will test it, and I'll pull up the decibel reader. Full disclosure, it's not very... That's what happened. I created new threads. I was so worried I did that. Oh my gosh. It's because I used an electric screwdriver. I need to be careful with that. I created... It won't affect the functionality of this. It didn't go through, so you can't see it. That's good. But, oh my gosh, that was comically funny. Wow. Oh yeah, no, I don't want to put I want to put a screw here, not an eye bolt, because it could go here if they order a logo. If they order it with a logo. But I can't believe I just did that. Jev, what are you talking about? I weigh way more than that. Well, maybe. Actually, probably close to that. Okay. Well, let's not create new threads this time and see what happens. Hi, J-Train Studios. Yes, whoever's going to have this is going to have lots of fun with the Banshee. Favorite food? I can tell you one of them. Macaroni. Love macaroni and cheese. That's just one of them. I have lots. Oh, boy. Okay, there we go. I'm not going to go through the I accidentally created new threads on this. It's so funny. I can't believe I did that. But anyway, everybody was like, it looks fine to me, but in person, it was all crooked. Like, the hat didn't line up with the skirt. And I was so confused. That's why. So, anyway, how about I line up this side first so that way I don't screw it up? Huh, get it? So I saw that hole and I was like, oh yeah, that's where it's going to go in. There we go. Almost done, guys. Okay, that went in the right hole. Boom. This one. Not much longer here and we'll be done. 25 people watching. Thank you, guys. Well, it's a little boring seeing me put a hat on it, but... Is this aligned? No, it is not. Let me fix that. Okay, almost there. Alright. I am so thirsty right now. I need water. Okay. Dang it. I'm creating new threads again. Wait. Boom. Now I just gotta screw that. Wow. I didn't think putting on the hat would be such a pain, but... Alright, look at that. We just gotta put in some eye bolts. Let me get my eye bolts. They might look a little big on this siren. Let me see how big they look. They might look funny. Does that look funny? That eye bolt? That looks so funny. Okay. I maybe didn't think about that, the size of these eye bolts. I might just put screws on it. Yeah, does that look funny or what? I mean, I'll keep threading it in so it doesn't look like this, but I don't know. I have some mixed feelings about that. It looks so funny. Okay. We're not doing that. I have some shorter ones, but the thing is the threads are tiny, so I have these ones. Thanks, Lowe's. No Valley Pine Sirens. Oh, yeah. So what sucks about these is that the threads are smaller than an M2 screw, so I don't think they work very well with this. Okay. Look at that. What do you think, guys? The little eye bolts look better, but the thing is, can you sell me a duck? Look, you could just rip that out. Like it's not in there very well. Oh, well, I might mess around with it off camera, but that is a Banshee, people. Whoop, I almost dropped it. Yeah. So 912 A.C.A style Banshee. I know it's not really super accurate, but gosh, it is what it is. Hi, DSM Sirens. We're almost done here, but I'm still gonna blast this off. Don't worry. All right. What do you guys think? It's just, I don't think this is threading in and doing what it's supposed to, but I don't think I really need 4 points of pivot on here. I think 2 will just do it. What I'm talking about is screws holding on the hat, you know? All right. A little bit longer. Okay. Oh, let me thread this in all the way. Hurricanes weigh way more than that. Okay. No, it needs to go in more. Why isn't this threading? Gosh. Okay. One more rotation. There we go. That looks awesome. All right, so the little eye bolts actually did do a good job. I was expecting to never use those again, but wow, I was mistaken. Nice. All right, people. I think we'll give this one quick blast and we'll finally be done, because honestly, I'm tired. Yeah. And if you guys are wondering about eye bolts, I will turn that up a little bit. Yeah. Yeah, better look at it. Oh, it's still plugged in wherever I have it plugged in. Check it out. Yep. Banshee. 912 Banshee. Let's give the rotor a spin. Yep. All right. So I noticed it sounds a little better when I have it kind of up on something. So I'll put it on this random stuff on my workbench. This tape roll. All right. And I'll place it on said tape roll. And, well, it's a Banshee. Let's fire it up. All right. And I know it's slightly overpitched. I don't know why, but if it bothers me that much, I might wire in another resistor, or the end user can find an adapter that runs it at a better pitch. Here we go. Yeah. Loud. $90, $90, $100 plus. Yeah, pretty loud. It's very small. Yeah. Nice. All right. Watch, it's running backwards. Wait, was it? Oh my gosh, was it running backwards? Tell me it wasn't. It's running backwards. Oh, I'm gonna smack myself. Okay, guys. It's running backwards. Yeah. Okay. Well, don't worry. Real easy fix, people. All I gotta do is in my free time, I'm gonna reverse the connections to the motor. Which is easy to do. It's not that hard. But yeah, that's the Banshee. Gosh. Congrats, an extra hour to the live stream. No, I will do it off camera. Happily do it off camera. It's just running backwards. It runs. That's why it's overpitched. No, that's why. You run a siren backwards and the pitch is always higher. That makes a lot of sense. That's why. That's what's happening here. All right. Okay. Anyway, I was like, man, that sounds kind of weird. I wonder why it sounds like that. I wonder why it's overpitched. Yeah, it was running backwards, which is weird because I went out of my way to make sure it wasn't. Yeah, it's reverse wired. I went out of my way to make sure it wasn't reverse wired, but it is. Anyway, no problem. Yeah. Yeah, gosh. Yeah, I'm not going to do this on camera. Basically, all I got to do is just wire the motor correctly, and this thing will be a heck of a lot louder. I think I'll make a YouTube short about that. And here's the Banshee, blah, blah, blah. It now has accurate pitch, and it doesn't suck. This thing's pretty heavy, actually. Yeah, pretty much comparable to a like a Snowcube Banshee. It's about the same size. Here, if I get my SD10, which is in the same scale with the same style of rotor, same. And I feel like the SD10 kind of dominates it. You know, it's bigger, but here's a comparison, size comparison. Pretty cool. But yeah, bye-bye SD10. And this thing has perfect pitch. Get out of here. All right. Well, okay, this is already a little overdue. We're 15 minutes overdue. But still, the live stream was about two hours long. So we did all this work in 2 hours. We technically made a functioning Banshee. So thank you guys for sticking along. That was real fun. I'll probably blast it one more time. But in my own time, I'm going to flip the connections, which is pretty easy. Oh, I left it on. Pretty easy to do. And then this thing won't be reverse wired. Then I'll do a decibel test of this siren in a separate video, just not in the stream. But yeah, we built a Banshee, a reverse wired Banshee, but still a Banshee at that. All right. That's why it's over pitched. Now that most likely means I don't have to add more resistors. Yay! Here we go. Not very loud. +100 of the intake. About 80 around it. 85, 90. Not bad. Yeah. That's honestly really cool. It sounds like a reverse wired Banshee. I mean, they sound all airy and kind of wimpy. You know, when they're reverse wired, line sounds all airy and wimpy. The microphone. Oh, is it maxing out the microphone? It's really not that loud. I just showed you on the decibel reader. But yeah, it's reverse wired. Ooh, there's another rumble of thunder. Okay, again, that's all for this stream. I'm so sorry, guys, but about 20 minutes overdue. No, you cannot. Valley Pine Sirens. Yeah. Thank you so much, Jev. No, the mic is doing background noise cancellation. Yeah, it is reverse wired, Electro Red. Thank you so much, Siren Bench. I will have you print the Tempest soon. Probably after this. Bye, y'all. I'll see you in the next one. And to answer you guys' questions, I know you have a few questions. I'll be selling in like, gosh, probably a week. Actually, no, sooner than that. I'll have my website up as soon as I buy Wix, and that'll be when I get more motors, because the motors I have suck. So probably in a few days. And so yeah, that answers that. I will be selling so soon. I'm sorry to keep you guys waiting, but yeah. And I sent an STL10 to somebody. I won't, for privacy reasons, won't mention who, but somebody on YouTube who does siren reviews. So you can see a video of that probably in a few days. It's my STL10. And that is actually a fun fact, the first siren I ever shipped out. So yeah, really excited to see that. And the Banshee, again, in my own free time, I will open it up. I will take note of the extra threads I put in there. But yeah, I'll put in, I'll reverse the motor, then it won't be reverse wired. It's really cool. It actually sounds like a reverse wired siren, So yeah. Anyway, I hope that answered you guys' questions. That's all for this video, for this live stream. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We had like a maximum of I think it was like 31 people watching. So thank you guys so much. That will be all for this one, guys. See ya. See you in the next one. Bye-bye. Adios. See you guys in the next one. Probably streaming I don't know, soon. Might do this 8-port one. All right, bye.